When we did the
Go ahead now.
Facebook Live event,
Mm-hmm.
did you pick up people that enrolled and joined
Yes, we are, I think, like into the 5, 6 new people.
into the what?
In like 5, 6 new signups,
Oh, okay. Okay.
something
Oh,
like that.
cool.
Yeah, I think it's like every other day something
Okay.
signs up new. Rick and the elements of virtual selling. Someone had mentioned Keith Morrison and yourself. So I think with your recommendation, I think they also took that extremely highly and moved forward with it and expressed
Good.
a little of how other systems are a little bit more complicated and how this one seems less complicated. And with your seal of approval, it was like a no-brainer. So I was kind of like, nice. All that time with Rick is paying off.
Good.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad we're getting more people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're growing and you know, since we're focusing a lot on, you know, the overall, this is actually the lady that mentioned you, to tell you the truth. So, today I have 2 things. One, it was an email that was sent from Cassie and a new item within our library. So when you guys have things that you would like to see either in the library and that you feel that can be a resource for others and it falls in one of the brackets, feel free to send it over to me. And I'll show you the one that we have. So I went ahead and added in the library this new educational communication. And in this one is this email called Protect Your Data. And this is the name of the email. This is the email. Now this is so that if you send this to employees that it takes their company name, if you have it saved to their account. And then this link, of course, works. These are just to draw the attention. So they're just colored. They're not hyperlinked or anything. These ones go to the links. So this one takes you to a short video, and then this one takes you to setting up your profile as a sincerely. And the only thing I would say is just to look out for whether if you have automatic signatures that go off, or if you don't, then all you need to do if you end up using this email is just go ahead and use a smart tag and add, what's the one that we want?
Under signature.
I think my signature. And then so you would do that. And of course, these emails would go out and it would pull your signature with this smart tag.
Well, that's
And
unless you automatically add it, right?
right, if it's already automatically done and you do this, you'll then get 2 back-to-back
Right.
stacked kind of signatures. But if you don't have that check, then you would have to go ahead and just add this yourself and then save it to your side. And then, of course, use it. So thank you to Cassie about sending that over. And so, yeah, so when you guys have things like that, I would say, you know, just send it over and I'll do my best to get it in the library. The more we can build out the library with little things like this, I think everybody would, I guess more send out stuff more, and because it's available and we kind of go over it. So there's that little caveat. And then I wanted to, so I've been just personally using kind of like what George has been doing, but I've been using touch points. And let's see. All right, so this is something that I wanted to just, show, and something that I've been doing, and actually been finding how it kind of works. Like, so if you set up touch points, and so I guess we can kind of start from the beginning, like what is touch points, right? So through a specific category on the contacts, it allows you to set up frequencies for follow-up for specific, let's say, categories. So for like your prospecting, let's say you're putting in 50 to 100 new contacts a week so that you can begin to prospecting. So with this category here, you could definitely use a touch point for it. And where we will find the touch points is in the settings, touch points configurations, and you can use, if anybody is set up as a prospect and has that category, you can go ahead and say, every 7 days, I want that prospect to circle around to me. And then that way I can reach out and communicate with him and try to drive prospects into the next step, which is becoming a DM, a decision maker. And then you can also do the same thing with your decision makers. Let's say you just don't want to be so much on top of them. You want to give them kind of, let's say, 15 days worth. And then also taking decision makers to the next step, proposal. So by putting these frequencies, you're always getting these people circled back to you, so then you can follow up. And through these frequencies, you can basically avoid people slipping through the cracks. And if you want something to help you focus on prospecting and driving people from one stage to the next stage to obviously get them into servicing, meaning you've closed the deal and now they're somebody under your umbrella. So you can set this, you can save your configurations. Now I've already got a couple of examples. And so you would go to touch points. And so we have this for our clients, and that's what I kind of use to go into people and call and see people that haven't, kind of really reached out to us or had an issue in the past, let's say 30 days or something. So I follow up, see how things are, just check in kind of, right? So what I like about it is your access to the contact information is at your fingertips. So you can, if you're calling him, you can see from here what it is. You can have access to the notes, so you can reference notes. Let's say you have a great conversation with the guy, everything is good. Now you want to obviously set up a follow-up kind of, right? So sorry, let's go with follow up for lunch. And let's say you set it up as an all day and you make it for the following day and you schedule it. I guess now with that, saving a note or saving the appointment, I guess you can also save a note. Great call details. And you can say this was over a phone call. You can save. And this will show up as it's been contacted. So it gives you the visual tool like, okay, what happened? I kind of check somebody off the list. The notes, as you start contacting, if you wanted to go back and see, this will just basically lay out all the people you've contacted and give you kind of the notes so that you can kind of just remember maybe what happened, what took place. Since this is over 7 days, this is basically kind of like your whole week worth of activity. So doing this, right, you can either call from here by just grabbing the phone number, putting it into your phone or dialing it from there. Or if you wanted to send them a text message, you're welcome to do that as well. But let's say you contact the individual, gives you this little option to remind you about putting in a note. So right there, you can save a note. Great call. And now it's pushing you to save information, stay on top of what you're trying to drive in, right? So this is good. The other thing I like about it is how you can set up appointments just because the contact is at your fingertips. And then that kind of steps into how George does his things, where he uses the tasks. And let me see this real quick. Well, here, let's just go to tasks because we already have an all-day appointment for tomorrow. And so if you found yourself in the groove and all you're doing is making phone calls, putting notes, kind of trying to push people into the next step, now you'll have a bunch of appointments similar to the way that George works, right? And now you can follow up with them. Now, if you needed to edit this now, because let's say you've spoken to them and now you have a date and time that you want to set this up for, now you could just simply change it. And then this will change, go to the time slot. Let's say it wasn't meant for, sorry, it wasn't meant for Friday. So let's just go ahead and edit and just push it for next week. And let's go ahead and schedule. And now by doing this kind of stuff, you will always have people on your calendar, people in your tasks. This will also stay synced to your Google Calendar and that kind of stuff. So if you've got your Gmail and your calendar synced, you'll be able to have this on the go. And so just wanted to kind of maybe give you an example of why using touch points. Now, if you've also seen the emails and some of the categories that Kathy and Cassie have created, other people have their versions of their categories, but if you use these categories, then you will be able to set up frequencies for touch points for prospecting, decision-making, proposal, enrollment. For servicing, who knows, right? I don't see you guys calling. However, you could also, people in servicing, you could maybe set up, I don't know, a frequency that's a little bit 90 days out. And it's just merely to kind of go through accounts just to see the status, how they are, just to review, make sure everybody's kind of where they need to be. But you can definitely use touch points with these categories. And in fact, this is the only category that coincides with touch points. So none of these ones can you set up touch points with, only these ones. But that is,
So Jeremy, when you set up those touch points, do those show up on your dashboard? Or do you have to go looking into, because my thing is remembering where they're showing up.
so every Monday morning, you're going to get an email with touch points.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So that's one way as a reminder. Then you have the engagement and the touch points tab per se. And so here it's going to give you your goal, what you want to deal with in a week. I've set this low, but it's just a matter of increasing this to 50 and saving.
You know what we say, low goals ensure always being on target.
Not sure why I didn't save. Already suggested the current remove. So I guess this will take place next week. 5 of my goals this week. And so the good thing about it is I like it because I use it. I have like a 50, I have my goals set for 50, and I have people in order. I have a list that I can look at when I have questions of who did I speak to? What did I say? I have this notes, and it kind of gives me the people that I, the contact that I dealt with. So when it comes to, driving in the traffic and that kind of stuff, I would say it's good to have some type of tool that's organized, that also gives you access to information. If you take the extra step and just go ahead and start setting up appointments so that you can have like a follow-up, just so that you can, let's say well, yeah, no, the touch points is good. So I was going to say, just in case you don't use touch points, you can simply just do it through the tasks, but the touch points actually puts people in front of you that you might have not been focusing on. So that's why I like a little bit of the touch points and the way that it kind of combs through your database and through your categories and brings you people that I have found, oh, wow, I haven't actually spoken to him in 2 months, when we would like to have like a monthly cadence and things like that. And so, not
So
sure.
it does send you an email then, so that it
You get a
reminds you.
Monday, you get a Monday email with
Okay.
your touch points. Then, hopefully either you use this as a tool. So instead of going to maybe your dashboard as much, you'll actually be in tasks, and then going through tasks, you'll see, oh, I have, I have something to do next Monday. This is the meeting. And so the fact that you can see it, go to his contact, access his contact, which I think all I have to do is log out. Give me 1 second here. Let me just log out. Log back in.
You just jumped out of screen sharing.
Right. I just didn't want to reveal too much of hopping around, so I just quickly turned her off. There we go. Something I've seen is when the system kind of has moments of, I guess, where it doesn't display as you want, or as it should, logging out and logging back in has been, for some reason, I guess my secret fix. So I'll give that to you guys as a little extra, no charge. But this is just something that, since I've been in the past, I think it's like the past month, I've been dealing with going into touch points, using touch points through our own database. And I have seen how in the hours that I dedicate to myself, I can speak to a lot more people. I can, and there's cases, I can tell you this, where sometimes you're not making a communication, right? So sometimes you'll actually get to one of these, you'll be Jeremy Wilfred. Oh, let me go take a look at the notes. You'll go through the notes. Sorry, you got to click this one. You'll see that, oh, let's say he's just not ready for whatever reason. You forget where the conversation is, but now that you could easily send him an email. You could easily send him a text, just like a checking in, just like something random, just to see, you obviously no need for a phone call, but you could at least do a touch, right, of some shape or form. And then you send it out, and either you note it, you can mark it as contacted. If you wanted to save a note, I guess it'd be, just checking in. And let's say you sent a text message, but the whole thing is that you at least go through your people. So I've found myself, not everybody I phone call, but a lot of people I send emails, I send text messages. And so, I don't know. I think if you're staying active on your list, especially if they're prospects and they're continuing getting, correspondence from you, I think it would give you the best possibilities of getting these people to move forward, to know who you are, to, put a face with that email that always comes about. And so just something that I wanted to show you guys, plus the new email that's available in that template folder. Is there any questions or anything that you might want to add?
Jeremy, as I understand it, if touch points has picked out that you've got 12 people you need to contact on a given day,
Mhm.
but you've set yourself with a goal of 5 calls a day, they're not all gonna show up?
That is the case. However, if you did skip any of those people, it would go through your list and it would see who's next, and it would allow you to it would like bring more people to your list. So if you see somebody that you just don't need to touch, don't need to say anything to, you can skip them and it would give you somebody else. So you can do that, but you are correct. And then, so what I say is it just depends. If you want to set yourself a goal just because you're limited on time and it is what it is, then obviously pick a goal and stick to it. But if you're looking to do more to manage everything and have the all-seeing eye, I would, set it into like 150, just so that you can see as much as you can, more than you would probably ever get to in a week. And then that way you can just kind of go through the list and kind of nitpick and see the ones that you want and kind of, but at the end of the day, when you go to your notes, you'll see the people that you've touched, you'll see the people that what you've done. You'll have access to their account relatively quickly so that you can kind of see what it is and, kind of just get into the game again.
Right, but I guess my point is that if there were 12 that I should be reaching out to today, and it's only gonna show me 5, is there anywhere that I can go pick up the other 7? That I was supposed to reach, but because I only had 5 targeted, I didn't get them all?
So that's what I was trying to do here, where set up and add 50, right? Just so that I can see more of a list. But when doing it, it gives me this message. Let me let Scott in. If the user is already suggested for the current week, then it will remove the non-contacted users from the list for this week. So I don't necessarily, I think, and then so what I can see is that it just goes, oh, no, now we're good. So I guess that was just a glitch from before. And now that I have signed in, so now I would just say move it up, because
Okay.
that's what I was trying to do in the beginning, was just to move it up and get it to just add those. So now I have plenty more. And as I start going through these and contacting these, I'm going to still get more and more and more. And so, and then I have 3 days left to the week to call out on. And so just something, if you wanted, if you had like not a lot of people do the prospecting kind of, motions or networking, but you could use this for the same thing, just so that you're staying on top of. George does something different, right? George sends out emails, and depending on how the emails are opened and that kind of thing, those are the ones you kind of go after first, right? Is that how it is? Or
Yeah,
so that's a good sales technique. I've seen that in many offices where the head of the office will like send out a blast to hundreds or thousands of contacts. Then he will get a list of just the open stuff and pass that off to his best guys. And then everybody else kind of has to dig through the bucket of whatever's left. But I've seen that play out like that. And so in that case, that's kind of how George does it. But if, let's say with decision makers, like, so you could also create other categories so that live here. Like if you did servicing and then you created like a sub servicing, but for past client, give it kind of like a subcategory within the category. You could then have your servicing past clients show up here. And so what that is that's like a form of follow-up. You can set a frequency of every 30 days. And then those people of your past clients are always going to show up every 30 days You can follow up with them with email, text message, quick phone calls. The whole point is that if you see that you're getting referrals from maintaining that relationship, well then I guess there's some good that can come from that kind of follow-up, dealing with, you know, your past clients and just keeping them happy, just talking about, who knows, they may have somebody else with a similar business that needs help, and because you've helped them, they would love for you to reach out to somebody else. And so this is an angle in which it's not for everybody, but if you do utilize it, it's a really good form of following up and staying on top of a list of people, plus utilizing the tasks with it by setting up appointments so that you can also kind of customize your follow-ups, just so that if you've got somebody that you spoke to and is now, let's say, a lot hotter than before, you can kind of put them in here so that they just don't get cold again and then don't move forward, that kind of thing. And so
Jeremy, back on the other page, the columns that are shown
touch
on
points.
the touch points, the columns, are those interchangeable? Can you pick which ones you want to show?
You can't, but by simply just clicking, you have the contact. So
Right.
I know it's not what you're asking, but if you're trying to find information from that contact, this is everything that's associated to the contact. So if you had a lot more spheres added, your categories and that kind of stuff, you would see
Okay.
it
Well,
all
because
at
I'm just
at a
saying,
glance.
I don't use spouse or spouse email, so I just wondered if that could be, taken out as an
Yeah,
example.
in this case, this is just firm. So
Okay.
there's no kind of like where the contacts where you can kind of edit that
Yeah.
out.
Save it as a report.
That's possibly a good suggestion, maybe. Where you can kind of, I guess,
Why?
save
I mean,
time and having.
do a lot of people reach out to a spouse?
I wouldn't think so, but
Well, remember
I
this
don't even know
has
why that would even be in there. I mean, personally, that's
the
just
real estate side, right? So a lot of this is real estate. So you would use this for follow-up with your past clients, your current clients, your hot, your cold kind of. And then so sometimes having, her email, sometimes speaking to one is like speaking to both, right? So that's where that comes from. So for us, yes, these categories don't really kind of do much. So
You can always misuse those, though, George. You can, in other words, not misuse them, but use them for other purposes.
like change
You
them.
know, well, change them if you could do that, but you could also, for example, you might use that. I'm trying to remember, there was an example of that we had the other day where somebody was using that category to plug in other information that had to do with the client, but wasn't necessarily the client themselves.
yeah, we
And
kind of
yeah.
changed it to the authorizing officer
And there
in
you go.
group world, but it still shows up on that thing, on that
Mhm.
list as spouse. So
I'm curious if you change the name, if it shows up different. Doo-doo.
oh, it
So,
does.
so these are emails and phone number slots. So if you wanted to obviously change this to something else, like authorizing email, or yeah, you could change this. And so you could remove the spouse and it would show the phone number that's associated with Anthony. Right.
Well,
So it
didn't
would
it
give
have
you,
Anthony's phone number on there before?
it did,
No?
but it would give you basically a third place to put phone number and email
Ah,
for, like,
okay.
I guess, for authorizing officer. So you could take authorizing officer and put authorizing officer email.
Well,
Authorizing
an
officer.
authorizing officer would come in play once the group is established. So if you're talking this is a prospect, that wouldn't necessarily,
It wouldn't be there, but if you change the
Yeah.
category, at
Yeah.
least it would read differently. So, and then it would serve a purpose in your guys' case, opposed to, you know, calling the spouse. So good observation, George. However, if you want to make a change to it, that's the best thing that we can do right now. But yeah, sometimes some things come from the real estate side of things. And so that's, yeah, a little bit of that.
Well, tell
any-
them to stop that.
I try. I try. I've been doing my best. We've got a whole different contact sheet, different from them. They don't have like 3 places for addresses and all the other date fields. So we've definitely, you know, separated ourselves from them and what they do. We've got nothing to do with transactions. So that's also a huge kind of thing as well, to not have to deal with, and just to see an eyesore of an extra tab that complicates things in some cases. So I'm glad everybody. Now, I did have some questions since we have quite a bit of new people. I did see, let me just see, I see Scott, Rick, Pam, and a Kevin. And so questions to you guys. How has everything been? What's your experience? Have you had any questions? I guess I'm gonna pick on somebody. I'm gonna pick on Kevin. Haven't met you, Kevin. And so do you have any nice things to say? Just joking.
No, actually, I started Fieldnotes 2 months ago. I just haven't gotten around to doing anything with it yet.
All right, all right. Well,
In
sometimes
fact, I think I got an
happens.
email from you. You need to update some of the background information.
Some of those, so those are the categories that we're talking about, the sales
Yeah.
status. So if you like the way that organizes your contacts, right? And if you like the logic, a little bit of the logic behind it, and how to keep things organized, it's also to use in conjunction with the statuses as well. So if you have questions about it, definitely reach out to me. Also, and regardless, if you want to start getting something done with your CRM, just send me an email, reply back to that, give me some times we can kind of look at your situation and how you do things, and then how we can adjust the CRM. You can do small little minor things that will then just make it just more for you. If you for some people, they just focus on specific lanes of LegalShield, not all of the products. Sometimes they have no need for these categories or for capturing this kind of information. And so would love to give you any, tips and tricks about getting set up. Because once you're set up, then you can really kind of start piling stuff on. What were you thinking to use it for like communication to groups and members? Do you host webinars, and do you host seminars, or do things like, is it to kind of to manage a newsletter or a group of people or something like that?
For me, the most powerful thing is automatic follow-up for people who already signed up,
Okay.
or
Okay.
the ability, like when I've got an enrollment coming up, just to notify everybody. Like one of the big things this year for a lot of us is we're doing rate and benefit increases in 2023.
Okay.
So to kind of give people a 60 and 30-day notice that there's going to be changes is extremely helpful, rather than me doing it one by one by one by one,
Oh yeah, speaking to the masses or speaking to somebody just individually is definitely going to be a time saver for you. So having categories and having everybody nicely organized in their
Yeah.
in their bucket or their category will help you with finding the people that you need to speak to, sending out the communication.
Yeah.
And so templates, that's going to be building your own templates, what you want to say, that kind of stuff. So definitely when you've got free time, shoot me an email and we can kind of get into some sessions to kind of accelerate your setting up, and then that
I
will
appreciate it.
that'll kind of push you along, because then it's just work it, you know. Once you kind of get everything set up, then it's just sit down and manage the station and
Awesome.
hopefully reap the benefits, right?
Exactly. Thanks.
Nice. Well, thank you for that. And Pam, I'm going to pick on you, Pam. Since we've already had a meeting and we've discussed some things about her business and what she wants to use Fieldnotes for, how's your homework assignments going? Let's give her a moment.
Dog ate it.
I gave her a lot of, in fact, now that we've got some new people, and for the, our existing client, when giving Sparky data to upload, you may thought, and this is how I thought, right? To send Sparky file by file, because it comes out of LegalShield, Shield at Work in that way, which is like a file here, a file there for this, So what I've heard from the developers is that you can put you can put more than one file. And so for people who are setting up, right, who are starting out to get there, it's best, instead of sending file individually, for you to send one Excel with everything. That will save you a little bit of time on the upload, and it looks like Sparky can manage it a lot better. Because if he gets one and then gets another one, what I've heard is that the system will hold and it will pause, waiting for more to come in so that it can compile them all and just do it all as one job. So FYI, you can put multiple sheets, like you can put multiple files into the Excel, or have it all in just one if you're familiar with doing that. And so let me see, we've got somebody who made a chat. Pam, could you send me the number to call? Oops, I think maybe she had, I don't know if we have a number to call. I think it's just a Zoom. Oh, sorry about that. So I guess Pam's having difficulty with speaking, but if that clears
Audio
up,
issues.
audio issues, yeah, she's welcome to. Well, I just don't have a number for her to call, and I don't think in the invite it has a number,
It
so
didn't.
it's just a web link. So
She could write it in the chat.
yeah, she could. Let me just go ahead and mention that. Where's my chat? I just lost everything. There's chat. And then, so you guys are clear with that, right? So instead of doing independent little files, just put it as much as you can all in one, and that should speed up when it comes to uploading data when you
When
send
you
it to
say
Spark.
put it into one, it's all on the same page, correct? No
That
tabs.
works. Or you can do tabs. So because you guys get the group folder, right? Or you can download the group, which will give you all just your group. Then you got to go into individually each one and start pulling the report for all customers, or just active, or canceled, or pending. So that's another report. So if you just start adding it in like that, you'll have basically everything in one. And what I was told is that it can compress those. So whether if it's all in just one sheet, one tab, or multiple, The whole point is that all the data gets sent at a time, and then the system doesn't have any kind of hold up. It doesn't have any kind of wait for more moments, which it just prolongs the upload. So
Okay.
just wanted, that's what I told Pam, because Pam was looking to set up categories. So she's picking which categories work for her and how she's going to set up hers. Then once she has her sales cycle and status kind of set up, then she's going into download all of her data. So then we can kind of get it over to Sparky and get all of her contacts into the system. With that, then with those two things right there, you're going to be able to do a lot, because you're going to be able to see the data. You know what I mean? You'll be able to, how do you say, pull reports relatively quickly and have the insight, right? So you can pull up reports for your groups, you can pull up reports for your members, if it was specific products, all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of playing around with it and setting up those reports, and then just looking at, I guess then you can start looking at what kind of action plans you want to build and what do you want to say, and if you wanted to select some of the stuff that we have in our template library, definitely use that, modify it if you want. But now you're already at the stage of picking action plans and what kind of communications and things like that. And so that should definitely push people forward, right? When it comes to signing up, getting their categories kind of ironed out, data in. Now what can you do? Start emailing, put people on campaigns, inform them, and all that kind of stuff. Let me see. So Pam came back. So
I did, Jeremy.
there you go. Nice to have you.
I was using my computer that is not set up for a speaker, so I've got my phone now, so it's all
Nice.
good.
Beautiful. Well, I asked you, how was your homework assignments going?
Well, they're going good. The only thing is my computer locked up on me, so I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on. But
Murphy's Law.
so Jeremy, you're a wealth of information. I really enjoyed our session together, and we'll definitely. And I'm actually going to be training my husband to work with me also on this. So because he can be my go-to person when I'm out there at an appointment. So it's
Yep.
well worth the $40 a month.
You've got also an app for iPhone and Android, which is pretty complete when it comes to like the functionalities and the things that you could do if you had to do it on the go. But most importantly, you could get access to a contact. You could look at all of the information. And so if that's where you're keeping everything, if that's where you're putting your notes, if that's what you're doing stuff with, well, then there would that app, if you haven't downloaded it, would be good. Also, you can access it from a browser with internet service. So even on an iPad, I've got a user that strictly iPad. He says it's the iPad and the couch for me. So that's how he manages his stuff. So I'm actually kind of, cool to know that you could actually do that, because then that makes things just that much more cooler when it comes to, I don't have to be at the desk slaving. I can be, just chilling and doing it from an iPad. If you've got data going to it, then you can do it wherever. And so I'm glad that your homework is going well. And let's see, I think Scott, how are you doing, Scott?
This is how you catch the people sleeping.
Yeah, I'm here.
Scott's not a sleeper.
No, I'm here.
Amen. Good to have you. So Scott, tell me, what did you look for? I don't know if I've asked this to you before, but what did you look for Fieldnotes when it comes to?
Yeah, I haven't, since I just basically started, and I've been kind of out of the loop the last couple of days. So I've been kind of just
Oh,
uploading.
that's right. Yes, that's right.
So
Yeah, well, I hope
but
you're doing well.
mainly what I would be doing is at least here in the beginning is is prospecting. So,
Okay.
but then I
Well,
will be
that's-
maintaining also, of course, but right now that's what I'm focused on.
Well, that's cool. I would like to definitely, when you've got some free time, talk about the prospecting, because that's something that not everybody does, right? Not everybody has that kind of focus with the prospecting, but the ones that do, I like it. It has its kind of roots in sales, and with the system, if you utilize and leverage action plans, you could really kind of set up a 7-day kind of action plan that helps you kind of get that person to kind of get in touch with you, but you're not really doing anything. So the time that
Yeah.
it takes you kind of to build the action plan, when it's front facing to the person, they really think it's you consistently doing follow-up, sending emails, trying to, give helpful information, educate them on who you are, what you do, kind of build a profile to like the stuff that you have, and show maybe some of the products and some of the topics that you'd like to immediately discuss and things like that. And so they see it as you, right? They don't see it as somebody else. They just see it as you doing it. And I feel that when people get that feeling, they also feel like, oh, maybe I should follow up with him because he spent a week, trying to get at me. So with that alone, you'll find hopefully more people getting in touch with you, having real conversations because they have a sense of who you are instead of not who you are. And when we don't know people, we tend to clam up, not really talk about the real issues and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd love
Yeah,
to.
that warms it up real
Yeah,
good. So
warms them
yeah,
up
I would
for
be
you.
interested in that.
Yeah, and then all you've got to do is kind of just move them through the meat grinder, get them to go into the next brackets, right? So would definitely love to pick your brain to see how you're thinking of utilizing it and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
absolutely. So whenever you have some time, just go ahead and send me an email or come and chat, and that way we can set up a time and discuss some things. All right. So anything else that you guys had that you guys like to discuss, bring up? Well, I definitely thank you guys for showing up today. It was a pleasure to have everybody this 23rd of March, this Thursday. And so I thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure. And I guess we'll see next Monday. All righty.
Take
Ciao,
care.
everybody.
Take care.
Thank you,
Have a good day.
Jeremy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.